leaving behind. I think a lot of people were taken with the reporting over the weekend about the sheer volume of military equipment that's been left behind all over the country. And I know the Pentagon is concerned about not having that be the case at Kabul to the best that they can.
Yeah, that's right. So on the equipment, I mean, a lot of what was left behind was for the Afghan security forces. And as the Taliban took over parts of the country throughout the course of the summer, they took most of that equipment. They were able to get hold of much of that equipment. And we're talking everything from ammunition, small arms, up to aircraft. And even there are reports that they were able to get some drones here. So there is there's been a pretty robust amount of U.S. military equipment at Kabul airport throughout the course of this evacuation mission. And you mentioned how it's going to look as what the military calls their retrograde, their full withdrawal from that airport. There's obviously a bunch of equipment there that they've been using. Well, they've been sort of taking the stuff that's the least priority, vehicles, things that they can manage without for those last few hours. They've been getting some of that out on aircraft already on these last evacuation flights. And then some of it, if they leave it behind, the defense officials who we're speaking to make it clear that they will not leave it in an operable state. So they're not going to leave behind things for the Taliban to be able to take over. There are several ways that they can do that. One, they can just disable it. So literally smash the equipment to pieces so it doesn't work anymore. And take out anything that could be potentially classified. Anything they would leave behind would not have a classified component, most likely. The second way is what the military calls a controlled detonation. So they would blow it up on the way out the door. We may see a combination of both of those things here, Garrett, but the officials who we're speaking to are confident that they are not going to leave anything behind that the Taliban may be able to get a hold of.
Last year, as NATO forces retreated from Afghanistan at an unprecedented pace, a massive haul of sophisticated weaponry was left behind. Now, these U.S. arms that were left abandoned in Afghanistan have made their way to India, where they are being used by local terrorist groups in Kashmir. In a video released by People's Anti-Fascist Front, or the PAFF, terrorists can be seen flaunting U.S. weapons that were used during the Afghanistan war. According to a U.S. government report, since 2003, Washington had transferred over 75,000 military vehicles, nearly 600,000 weapons, 208 aircraft, and over 160,000 pieces of intelligence and surveillance equipment. The U.S. also supplied over 7,000 machine guns, nearly 5,000 Humvees, thousands of bombs, hand grenades, and grenade launchers. While a fair amount of weaponry left behind fell into the hands of the Taliban, reports claim that American weapons are being sold in the open market in Afghanistan. The ones being sold in the open market were purchased by a gun dealer from the Taliban and include pistols, rifles, grenades, binoculars, and night vision goggles. A vast cache of these weapons through the gun dealers reached Pakistan, where US-made arms are in strong demand. Last year, the Indian Army said that these leftover weapons had reached terror groups in Pakistan, such as Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed. Lashkar and Jaish have supported terrorist separatist outfits like the PAFF, Joint Kashmir Front, and Kashmir Ghaznavi Force, and these three local terrorist groups have been behind several instances of violence in the valley since 2019. To tackle this mounting challenge, the Jammu and Kashmir Police will be the first in India to get US-made the SIG Sauer 716 rifles. Our correspondent Idris Lone has sent us a ground report.
After the withdrawal of US forces from Afghanistan, the defense analysts and security agencies in India had predicted its impact on the Kashmir Valley. However, security forces in Kashmir Valley say they are ready to tackle any such situation on the ground.
There's a lot at stake in how we end this war. It makes a big difference how we end this war. And it makes a big difference to tell the American people the truth about what our options are in ending this war. If tomorrow the order goes out from I'm President of the United States, I issue an order, end the war today, begin to withdraw all American troops. It will take a year to get the American troops out. Do you hear me now? That's the truth. It will take a year to get them physically out. Now, if you leave all the equipment behind, you might be able to do it in 7 months. And you leave those billions of dollars of weapons behind, I promise they're going to be used against your grandchild and mine someday. And you leave those billions of dollars of weapons behind, I promise they're going to be used against your grandchild and mine someday.
And you leave those billions of dollars of weapons behind, I promise they're going to be used against your grandchild and mine someday.